Being an entrepreneur is awesome, but it's not all flashy cars and money. In this video, I'm going over the good and the bad of creating your own side hustle or business. But don't worry, you guys, overall, entrepreneurship is amazing, and my goal is to convince you to eventually quit your 9-to-5 job and be your own boss. Thank you to Canva for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. So I just want to give you guys a little background about myself. I'm a 29-year-old solo entrepreneur with a small group of contractors that work for me. I do YouTube, online education, real estate, and e-commerce, among other things. These pros and cons don't always apply to all entrepreneurs, but for most people that work for themselves or have a small team, this should apply. So the first pro of entrepreneurship is that you get to set your own schedule. You get to wake up whenever you want, you get to hit the gym whenever you want, you get to start work whenever you want, and of course you get to stop working whenever you want. In my opinion, being the CEO of your time is the absolute best part about entrepreneurship. And we'll talk about this later on, but if you delegate, if you know how to create a team of people, then that can really free up your schedule and give you the freedom to do other things that you want to do in life. So at some point, you're able to get people to do work for you, which means that the money you're bringing in is sort of passive. I've had my own schedule since graduating college in 2014, and let me tell you guys, just being able to do that has been such a big blessing. Once you get to have your own schedule, it's really impossible to go back. Now, one really big con of having your own schedule is a lot of the times you think to yourself, do I really need to work today? There could be a big lack of accountability since you don't have a boss that's always looking over your shoulder. And as a result, you need to be really focused and committed to making yourself work. Now, I totally get it. It's very hard to make yourself work because the self-discipline that's required is extremely hard to get. I've struggled a lot with this, being my own boss for so many years. And sometimes I'll get into a slump, not work productively for quite some time, and then just really kick myself for being so unproductive. Like literally, guys, sometimes I'll watch YouTube videos for an entire afternoon. See, that's something you definitely need to consider when starting your journey of entrepreneurship. Are you gonna have the accountability to actually get things done? Because if not, this could be a big struggle, but don't worry, I do think it's something that everyone can learn how to do. Build that strong work habit, build that accountability in yourself, and as you do that, entrepreneurship is gonna get easier and easier. Now, I will say some days you might not work that much, but some other days you might be putting in 15 plus hours or more in a single day. Just know that since you don't have a set schedule, that schedule can be light or it could be extremely heavy. The next really big pro about entrepreneurship is all the tax advantages. When you're in business for yourself, this allows you to take business write-offs. So anything you're doing to spend money on your business, you can write this off of your taxable income. And it's something that a lot of employees, W-2 workers, are not gonna have the option of doing. So we're talking cars, we're talking office space, supplies, business meals, travel, and a lot of other things. And the cool thing is you don't need to have a gigantic business to take write-offs. Literally any side hustle income you make on a 1099 is going to make you eligible to start taking these types of deductions. So yes, taxes can be quite high for a lot of us watching this video, but the government, the IRS, they allow us to reduce our taxable income through all these deductions that we can take. And literally all these options are not available to employees, so that's why it's so beneficial to be your own boss, to create your own business, and start making 1099 income. They always say the tax code is extremely complicated and it's extremely unfair to employees, but if you have your own business, that's when you can really take advantage of the tax code and reduce your taxable income, which I'm sure a lot of you guys would love to do. Now, there are definitely a lot of tax advantages to being your own boss, but there are some parts of having your own business that are actually not good for taxes. A lot of new self-employed people are somewhat surprised when they look at their tax bill after switching from a W-2 employee to self-employed income. And the reason why is because you're carrying the full burden of paying your Social Security and Medicare taxes. If you're an employee of a business, your employer is actually paying half of that for you. So yeah, it's no longer being split by you and your employer, and that's why it seems like you're gonna be paying a higher tax bill. Now, for self-employed people, you'll be paying 12.4% for Social Security. And for the year 2021, this applies to the first $142,800 you're making. The tax for Medicare is 2.9%, and this amount applies to all the earnings you make, not just the first $142,800. And there is an extra 0.9% on top of that when you make over $200,000 a year as a single filer or $250,000 jointly. So yeah, you can see why paying that 15.3% by yourself is going to be pretty rough at first. But there are a lot of strategies to mitigate that cost, and I'm not going to get into them too much in this video, but you can create an S corporation, which will allow you to pay yourself a W-2 salary and then take the rest of the profits as a distribution. And those distributions are not subject to this 15.3% tax. So I want to take a second and thank this video sponsor, Canva. Canva has helped me out so much as an entrepreneur, and I really think that anyone looking to start or grow their business should use it. Canva is an online graphic design editor that makes it really easy to create graphics, business cards, YouTube designs, logos, advertising materials, social media posts, and so much more. Some really cool features that I like are being able to remove the background from your images, their magic resize tool, having your own brand kit, access to 75 million premium photos, videos, and elements, as well as being able to animate graphics. Like if you're bootstrapped and you want to save money by creating your own content, this is the best way to do it. They have all kinds of templates that make designing really great looking stuff possible, and it'll look like you paid hundreds of dollars for a pro to make it. Canva is being super kind and giving my viewers a 45-day extended trial to their Canva Pro subscription. I'll put a link to it below, and I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of this offer. And now back to the video. Okay, the next pro we're talking about is that you have an unlimited ceiling for your income, meaning that you can scale your income way beyond what most employees are able to do. The reason why you can do this is because you can actually scale using other people's time. I want to tell you guys a little story about how I used to make money when I was in middle school. My dad and I would go to Costco, buy candy bars, and I'd take those candy bars, put them in my locker at school, and start selling them to friends. I bought them for 33 cents each and sold them for 50 cents, which means I had about a 17-cent per sale profit margin. If I would have been smart with my time, I would have scaled by hiring other friends to sell candy for me. I only had a limited amount of time to sell candy myself, and if I had other people selling candy for me all the time, then I'd be making money even if I was just sitting in my chair doing nothing. So when you take advantage of things like this, you really are not restrained to making X dollars per hour. The more you scale, the more money you're able to make. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, there is a con with your income, and that is being unstable. So when you're an entrepreneur, you are not necessarily always making money. You could be losing money, you could be making money, but it really depends. And for a lot of people, they do not like this instability. Most new entrepreneurs I know are probably going to be thinking, when is my next paycheck and how much is it going to be? When you're not making money based on the number of hours you work, then it's a really different mind shift, and it forces you to really hustle for your money. Until just last year, I did not have a stable income. I never knew when or where my next paycheck was coming. And yeah, I get that that is extremely tough. Some months would be great and some months would be extremely bad. And I will say that for most new entrepreneurs, you might make less money than your friends who are employees for the first few years. That was definitely my case. I was not earning that much money once I graduated college, but at some point your income is likely to surpass theirs, and it's just gonna keep going up exponentially. So yeah, don't be too worried about how much money you make when you first start out as an entrepreneur. Rather, start building those high value skills, learn the whole entrepreneurship game, and at some point you're gonna hit a home run with one of your businesses. Okay, so another pro of entrepreneurship is that you get to build something that you are extremely passionate in. What I always tell people is that you should turn your passions and hobbies and interests into your business. When you do that, working becomes not hard, it becomes more fun, and you have this really intrinsic drive to succeed. You can really think of it as working on your own dream and not your boss's dream. Two really great examples of entrepreneurs that followed their dreams and succeeded are the Stradman on YouTube and Tony Hsieh, who is the founder of Zappos. The Stradman was so passionate about cars, he literally lived in his car for months while building his YouTube channel here in Los Angeles. Tony Hsieh had a huge passion for customer service, not necessarily shoes, but he was able to take that concept and turn it into one of the biggest shoe retailers in the world. So when you are passionate about something, you really are a lot more likely to succeed, in my opinion. And the work you're able to do, those long hours of hard work, are really that much more fulfilling. So sort of relating to that, another con of entrepreneurship is that it is sort of risky. You really don't know if it's ever going to work out with your business, right? Like, just because it's your passion does not mean it's necessarily going to work out, and you just really need to be comfortable with that. With my whole entrepreneurship journey, I have literally started dozens of businesses and failed at almost all of them. But you just really have to be comfortable with that failure and sort of expect it. Each of my failures was a stepping stone, and in each failure, I learned something that helped me in my next business. All those failures and lessons I've learned, I've sort of packaged them up, and that package of lessons has really given me an advantage as an entrepreneur today. So yeah, it definitely is not comfortable failing, but it is something that you'll probably face as an entrepreneur. The next big pro of entrepreneurship is traveling. So with the recent pandemic, we've really seen that you can start a business anywhere in the world. It doesn't work for all business types, but there are an infinite number of businesses you can start using only the internet. So when you start an online business like that, this gives you the freedom to travel anywhere in the world. You're not tied to a particular city just because your employer lives there. So as a result, if you love traveling, if you want to be a nomad, you can easily create that type of lifestyle as an entrepreneur. One of the big dreams in my life has to become a digital nomad, travel to some place like Bali, Indonesia, and just work from my laptop for at least a few months. I haven't yet done that, but that is definitely something that is on my bucket list. If I were an employee right now, I might have some vacation time, maybe 2-3 weeks per year. But besides that, I really don't have too much flexibility with my schedule and my travel plans. Now, along with that, there is a con of entrepreneurship, and that is sometimes you just really cannot take vacations. With entrepreneurship, there's always things happening, and sometimes something will pop up and make it so that you can't travel. This has definitely happened to me where I've planned a trip, bought tickets, arranged everything, but in the couple of weeks before the planned trip, a lot of things came up and I actually had to cancel my trip. These things happen both with entrepreneurs and employees, so it's not really tied to just entrepreneurship. But that is something to be aware of when you are making plans to travel as an entrepreneur. Another pro of entrepreneurship is the ability to outsource. I sort of talked about this in the first point of this video, but you're able to hire people to take care of things for you. A really big part of entrepreneurship is building teams so that you can work less and focus on the more important tasks. So right now I am reading this book. I'm almost done with it, but in the last 2 weeks, I literally went from 0 employees to having 4 part-time workers on my team. They're helping me run some aspects of my businesses so that I can focus on creating more content and doing things that really matter for the businesses. If you're a solopreneur like I was for many, many years, I guarantee you that you can probably find some way to outsource your work to contractors. It's also held me more accountable and actually have things to do each and every day so that my team can help me. Otherwise, I'm paying them on a weekly basis and I just be wasting money. So yeah, the key difference here between solopreneurs and CEOs is that CEOs know how to build teams that can run their business for them. And when you get into entrepreneurship, I think this whole concept of outsourcing is extremely important to know. Now, a con of entrepreneurship is also that outsourcing is extremely difficult. It's really hard to find the right people to fill these tasks correctly. It's also very hard to build these processes so that your team can just keep going on without your input. Building a team and training them correctly takes a lot of time, and a lot of people just don't have the patience to do that. In fact, it's so hard that I literally was working for myself, doing everything by myself for the last 6-7 years. Only now have I really gotten out of my comfort zone, hired my first few people, and really seen how big of an impact this has had on my businesses. So yeah, if you're someone that tends to want to do everything yourself and you find yourself really having a lot of trouble hiring things out or having people do things for you, then I'd say read that book, Who Not How, and really shift your whole mindset about trying to tackle on everything by yourself. It just really is not a good idea for most people. So yeah, hopefully the pros I've gone over have won you over and really made you want to become an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is certainly not all perfect, and there are some things that are bad about it. But overall, I think being an entrepreneur has really given me the best type of lifestyle for me, and I think a lot of you guys would feel the same way. Just know that it really is never too late to start chasing your own passions and building a life that you want to live as an individual. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel to see more videos just like this. I make a ton of content about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and investing. And really my whole goal is to teach you guys how to make money in non-traditional ways. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.